What is going on, everybody? It is your boy Blank Online here today to chat with you guys some more about some Call of Duty Modern Warfare. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we got the new release of patch update 1.15, and as well as that, we got our latest this week in Modern Warfare. So it's very exciting times, because we know every single time that we get a this week in Modern Warfare, we're gonna get something amazing. We're gonna get some amazing content drops. It's not playlist updates. It's gonna be something actually tangible and actually something really good, which is kind of what we got this week. Now this week in Modern Warfare, we actually got confirmation that we're getting a new gunfight map, which is actually very different to every other this week in Modern Warfare. Every other this week in Modern Warfare is just a playlist update, and that's really what I wanted to talk about today in this video. Is, I guess, the lies that Infinity Ward fed to us, and Activision as well to a certain extent, in the lead up to Modern Warfare, when we were told that we're going to be getting a constant content stream, a constant updates to the game to keep the game fresh, which I guess, other than this week, has only happened one other time in my memory, and I'll go through that in a bit here. So we'll go through the latest patch right now, and I'll very quickly touch on it because nothing really amazing happened. We got a couple different playlist updates, of course. When this week in Modern Warfare comes up, you know it's going to be playlist updates. So we got a couple new playlists. We got Dirty Old Houseboat, which I don't know if you can guess, is Shipment, Rust, and Shoot House 24/7. 3v3 Snipers on Rust, Giant Infection, Boots on the Ground War, which is ground war without tanks and has the realism rule. We got some general fixes to different regiment stuff and bugs and whatnot, but then as a result of this patch, new bugs came. It doesn't really, I don't know. Something seems to be broken all the time in Modern Warfare. We just got to get used to it. But we'll talk about the topic at hand here today. The lie that we're going to be getting constant content drops throughout the life cycle of Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Now, when they originally announced this, I was getting pretty excited. I was like, okay, so we're not going to get paid DLC. We're going to have a constant stream of updates to keep the game fresh. Like, this is going to be really good. Now, tell me if I'm wrong here. Every single week when we've had this week in Modern Warfare, it's just been nothing but playlist updates, rotating which map gets a 24/7 playlist, rotating the gunfight variations, whatever, rotating the featured game mode, all that sort of stuff. Now, is that content updates? I'd argue no, but some people may argue that it is. Now, tell me if I'm wrong here once again. Would changing the names of the already existing game modes act as a content update? Yet again, I would say no, it isn't. Which is what happened on Valentine's Day when Infinity Ward decided to change the names of all the playlists and game modes, and everyone went crazy for them. Now, I may sound a bit harsh here, but I expected more than this. If Infinity Ward is going to advertise to us that changing the playlists every week is their idea of constant content updates, then I guess fair enough to them, but also that's not a content update. Look, anyone can play Shoot House 24/7, anyone can play Shipment 24/7, anyone can do 3v3 Snipers on Rust, anyone can do Giant Infection. Like, it's not anything that's anything really spectacular. All it takes is a couple of rule changes and a map change on custom games in order to make those playlists a reality. The difference between that and here is that you earn XP and you do all that sort of stuff, so that's fair enough in that sense. But what isn't fair enough is blatantly telling us that every single week when we get playlist updates that it's brand new content, because it's not brand new content. You can only rotate the 24/7 playlist so many times until eventually you just get back to where you were before. Like the cycle of before Rust came out, the cycle of Shoot House and Shipment getting their 24/7 playlist, and then they combine it for a bit, and then they go back to either one or the other, and then it's just this whole thing. It's not new content. What I think that Infinity Ward should be focusing on here, instead of constantly every single week giving us a This Week in Modern Warfare to explain to us the new playlist changes, Instead of that, why don't they actually bring about some new content in order to bring the players who either don't like the game, have fell out with the game, or just have no reason to play the game to have a reason to come back and play Modern Warfare. I'm sure there's a big chunk of the Call of Duty community, like myself, like a lot of other YouTubers, who don't play Modern Warfare purely because there's one, nothing to come back and play for, and two, because it's a fucking garbage game, but we can ignore that for this certain point. If Infinity Ward were to just focus on bringing back those original those players who fell out with Modern Warfare, as well as maintaining the current base of players that they have, then they could have a more successful game. Can you imagine if, rather than focusing on changing the playlists every single week, they focus on ideas and ways to bring back those players? The player base will inevitably boost. The amount of people buying things like the battle pass, like the in-game store items, will boost because more players playing the game means more people to buy the microtransactions, which therefore means Infinity Ward and Activision can make more money out of the game. If Infinity Ward were to switch focus from focusing on the current core base of players that they have to the wider Call of Duty community, because there's so many people going back and playing Black Ops 4, World War II, older Call of Duties, even that, or just simply not playing Call of Duty anymore because Modern Warfare was such a big disappointment. Now, that's something that I hope that Treyarch works on as well with next year's Call of Duty 2020. I'm not saying release a map every week, because that would be ridiculous, and that just wouldn't, it'd be ridiculous, right? I'm not saying that. I'm saying there's different ways of giving players new content that's not just a map every week. There's many different ways of doing it. There's many ways I'm sure the developers can think of that I can't think of, and constantly bringing out playlist updates and saying and like exclaiming that their brand new content is just not it, right? It may fool the Infinity Ward followers, apologists, and Modern Warfare lovers, but it doesn't fool the entire Call of Duty community. We can see straight through Infinity Ward's lies here. Now, this is what I wish for not only Modern Warfare, but also for Call of Duty 2020 as well. If we're gonna get the promise of a constant content stream throughout the life cycle of the game, it can't just be playlist updates, because playlist updates aren't new content. The frustrating thing with Modern Warfare is that I want to play it, right? I want to play Modern Warfare, but I have no incentive to go and play Modern Warfare. One of the only incentives I have to go play Modern Warfare is because of this YouTube channel, and that I have to play the game in order to get content, in order to experience the game, so that I can talk to the game about the game with you guys, which is exactly what I'm doing here. If I didn't have this channel, I wouldn't be playing Modern Warfare, because I have no reason to. The ranking system makes absolutely no sense, because I have no reason to rank up to max rank, because I already know that that rank's going to be reset by the end of the season. I have no incentive to do the officer ranks and the officer challenges or whatever that is, because I know, because by the end of it, and even though you get literally no reward for completing the officer ranks, you just get XP towards your ranking, and then the ranking will then reset at the end of the season, which again makes absolutely no sense. Infinity Ward's diluted idea of map design makes me not want to come back. Skill-based matchmaking, lobby balancing, spawns, bugs, and everything makes me not want to come and play Modern Warfare. So what do I need in order to come back? Some sort of incentive. If there's people out there without a YouTube channel who are a fan of the Call of Duty franchise and just want an incentive to play Modern Warfare, what Infinity Ward should be focusing on is giving us that incentive, not focusing on, oh, what new playlist update can we bring out next week for the players, what new 24/7 fancy funny name can we bring, what different spin on ground war can we do this week. Like, focus on ways to bring those people back, and literally you will see the player base grow. If there's an incentive for people to come back, they'll come back. But what you need to do is retain that audience that comes back. Infinity Ward can't just go, oh yep, here's this really cool content update for this week, and they continue on to that for a couple of weeks, and then they just stop after the couple of weeks, and when they see the players coming back. That's not what they need to do. What Infinity Ward needs to focus on is continuing and living up to that expectation that I'm sure a lot of people had, living up to that expectation of having a constant stream of updates, of content updates throughout the entire year of this game. Now, I understand that that might seem unrealistic and that might seem just out of the ordinary for a company like Infinity Ward or Activision to even warrant doing some sort of thing like that. But honestly, I'd be happy if Infinity Ward literally just didn't do a This Week in Modern Warfare next week and did a decent content update the week after that. Like, I'm all for having little bits of content in between the big launches of each individual season, because seasons only happen every 50 days or something like that. So in those 50 days of the season being out, we get the big content drop at the start, and then seemingly the season will get a minuscule content drop in the middle, and then towards the end we get nothing, just like season 1 had. So I think what Infinity Ward needs to do, if they want to have players to continue to come back and play their game and spend money on microtransactions and do all that sort of stuff, is they need to live up to their promise of that they're gonna give us continuous content updates. And continuous, by the way, doesn't mean every 50 days they do a big season drop. Continuous means bi-weekly, I don't know, every couple of weeks. I don't know. It doesn't have to be big, as I said at the start of the video. It doesn't have to be a massive content drop. It just has to be something that incentivizes players to come back and play the game, not being a fucking playlist update, because playlist updates aren't new content in a game. Anyways, that's my thoughts on it all. Leave a like if you enjoyed, comment down below if you do have any ideas on how Infinity Ward can use what they have, the tools at their disposal, to kind of incentivize players to come back and play the game through some sort of content update. Let me know all that stuff in the comments down below. Click subscribe if you're new here so you don't miss out on my next video, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out.